But the 10 that did get ratified are the Bill of Rights. The first, you'll notice, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. I don't really have time to go into its meaning in detail. I'll simply say that this was intended to be an institutional separation, and it is biblical. In Israel, you remember the kings always come out of what tribe? Judah. And the priests, the religious authorities, always come out of one tribe, and that is Levi. Separation of church and state was intended to be an institutional separation. It was never intended to mean separation of government from God. It was never intended to mean separation of law from biblical values. Don't ever buy into this argument you can't legislate morality. All law is legislation of morality. What if I were to say, and I just hope, I've said this before a number of times, I hope there's nobody here that's nutty enough to take this seriously, but what if I were to say that, personally, I think it is immoral to bomb abortion clinics. But you can't legislate morality, and bombing an abortion clinic really has to be an individual decision that every person should make for himself in consultation with his munitions expert. That is absurd. And yet it's the logical consequence of this pro-choice, you can't legislate morality argument. If I come up here and I rob somebody and I'm taken to jail and I ask the officer, why are you arresting me? Well, you're arrested on suspicion of robbery. Oh, well, officer, if you don't believe in robbery, then don't rob people, but don't try to impose your morality on me. You see, robbing people is an alternate lifestyle of mine. Obviously, we have taken principles such as thou shalt not murder and thou shalt not steal and thou shalt not go more than 65 miles an hour on the interstate, because in so doing thou mightest unduly endanger the life and safety of thy neighbor, and we have elevated those to the status of law. We are not just saying, well, we would prefer you do this. We are saying you must, and we will punish people who don't go along with that standard of morality. Now, as was very accurately pointed out, even though law involves morality, there are some aspects of morality that are outside the jurisdiction of government. And sometimes figuring out which ones those are can be difficult. But just simply say that law has to have a moral base. The only alternative is for it to have an immoral base. It's not a question of legislating morality, it's a question of whose morality is going to be legislated and with what limits.